Hello and welcome to Cycles of Time, your weekly guide to what's happening on Earth as we make our revolutionary journey around the sun. For time immemorial, our human ancestors have created myths and meanings to help us adapt and thrive as seasons change. Join me each week to explore the intersections of these ancient cycles, from the indigenous medicine wheel to the pagan wheel of the year, the Babylonian and Greek zodiac to the I Ching, the ancient Chinese book of changes. I'm your host, Allison Dale, and this is the Cycles of Time podcast. Hello and welcome to Cycles of Time, the Cosmic Birth Canal. This is your forecast for March 16th to 21st, where we're celebrating the Spring Equinox, the Astrological New Year, Ostara, Aries season is beginning, and the sun is moving through the human design gates of Crisis, gate 36, and Innocence, gate 25. So it's an important time in the skies. Happy Astrological New Year to all of you who celebrate. Happy Ostara, happy Spring Equinox, happy Aries season. This week is marking not only all of these major cosmic milestones in the Wheel of the Year, but also the start of the second season of Cycles of Time podcast. So this last season that's just ending has been such a beautiful joy to walk the Wheel of the Year with you all. And as I mentioned before, I'm making a few exciting changes and upgrades this year. First off, video. Here we are, live on video. Video killed the radio star. You can check out my brand new YouTube channel, and you can still get the audio on your favorite podcast players too, as well as written transcript on Substack delivered to your inbox every Monday, if that's how you prefer to digest information. I definitely am much more of a writer than a video person, but I've enjoyed podcasting and being in my little den, my little recording studio. So I'm excited to kind of embrace a new experience as we enter this astrological new year. So thanks for being here. If you're new here, welcome. Cycles of Time is where I walk the Wheel of the Year and look at the seasons week by week for 52 weeks of the year through the lenses of the zodiac, the medicine wheel, the Taoist Wuxing cycle, and the I Ching, and really just tap into the ancestral stories of the seasons and do it in an embodied way. So thanks for being here. One little announcement before I get into the forecast this week is, along with this start of a new cycle, I am starting to offer a paid subscription or membership so you can walk the Wheel of the Year along with me in a little bit more of a tangible and in-depth way. I'm calling it Embody the Revolution, and I definitely want to keep the newsletter completely free and for the long haul. But this year, I'm excited to offer a super exciting paid tier as well. In my humble opinion, there's just a lot of value here, and I'm really excited to just get in depth and be able to reflect on these seasons as they pass and how they show up in our own lives. So as a paid subscriber, you can sign up on Substack or through my website at astrosomatics.com. You're going to get somatic practice videos to help you ground amongst the energy of the current moment. It's a big year astrologically and in all the ways. And so I really want to provide the somatics part of Astrosomatics this year and do some breathwork exercises, some embodiment, some movement exercises to ground into the energy of the week. You'll also get a monthly PDF workbook sent to your inbox at the beginning of every astrological season, starting with Aries season this week on March 20th. And I'm really excited about this PDF. I'm a former designer by trade, and so getting back into the design was really fun and just bringing a lot of juicy information and journaling prompts about the themes of the season, including the major astrological transits, the different wheels of the year, the elementals, and the human design gates of the season. So yeah, it has journaling prompts, it has some somatic exercises there to follow along with. So just a really great way to get an overview of the season ahead. We're also going to be doing live on Zoom revolutionary breathwork sessions on each new or full moon of the year. And so that's included as part of the membership. I'm certified as a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator, and I'll be hosting a guided breathwork session every month that helps us drop into our bodies and attune to the themes of the season. So I have all the dates up on my website under the Embody the Revolution membership page on astrosomatics.com, so you can kind of see when those dates are. And I will send out a recording of those breathwork sessions that are a guided climactic breathwork session that lasts about 40 minutes to kind of really release what we're holding on too tightly to. So I'm really excited about that. Part of this will also be a community reflection session on Zoom, where we'll get together at the end of each zodiac season to discuss how the energies and the elements and the human design gates of that season showed up for you in your life, and just have a moment to kind of reflect and share on that. There'll be an ongoing community forum to connect with other members and myself, to ask questions about the Wheel of the Year as it unfolds and to share your experiences. And then finally a calendar, a Google Calendar, where you'll get all of the transits of the year just plugged right into your calendar so you can follow along. And I spent a lot of time putting that together. So I'm excited about all of these elements, and I welcome you and invite you to join. It's a really good deal. You just become a paid subscriber on Substack, and come along for the ride. I'd absolutely love to have you join me as I walk the Wheel of the Year, and doing it in community is just so much more fun. So let's move on to this week in the Wheel of the Year. Week 0, because we're moving out of the last cycle, Pisces season, into the new cycle on Thursday with Aries season. And this week's mantra is, I release the past and step boldly into my new beginning, leaving my assumptions and expectations at the door. In the Wheel of the Year, we are in the direction east in the medicine wheel, the direction of spring, of childhood, of physicality, of the element earth. And we're kind of coming out of the winter direction north, which is about elderhood and spirituality and the element wind. And so that's the evolution of the medicine wheel in the seasons. In the Wuxing 5-element cycle of Chinese medicine and Taoism, we're currently in the season of wood, which it comes after the season of water and before the season of fire. And it is basically like upward growth and momentum, kind of like spring feels like. Both of those feel very related to Aries, with childhood and wood, kind of like a sprout, like the Aries sprout coming out of the earth. In the pagan Wheel of the Year, we are celebrating the holy day of Ostara this week, and I'll get into that more in a minute. The zodiac season, we're transitioning from Pisces to Aries. The Spring Equinox is on March 20th, and that is the day that every year Aries season begins in the tropical zodiac. Our moon phase is waning away from that full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo last week. And then finally, in the I Ching hexagram and human design Wheel of the Year, we are moving from gate 36, which we've been in since March 13th, last week with that solar eclipse, until Tuesday, the 18th. And then we're moving into gate 25 from March 19th to 24th. Gate 36, which we're currently in as I record this, is known as Earth over Fire, or darkening of the light, kind of like you scoop some earth on a campfire to put it out. It's the gate of crisis, and I like to call it the birth canal. And then on Wednesday, we enter Heaven over Thunder, which is known as Innocence, the first of the thunder lower trigrams in the I Ching, and it is known as the unexpected, or innocence, also known in human design as the spirit of the self or universal love. So here we are. Happy Astrological New Year. Happy Aries season to all you Aries babies out there. Hi, Mom and Dad. So we're in the cosmic birth canal from Pisces to Aries, from an ending to a new beginning. And I do want to say that I consider this my new year, but I don't think that there's a right time to celebrate a new year per se, because we're in the wheel of the year. You can choose any point along that wheel to claim as new for you. Capricorn winter solstice time of, when we kind of celebrate the Gregorian New Year on January 31st, it's definitely a time of like pushing through the dark of winter and adding a little bit of energy to that time. So it can definitely be a good time to celebrate the new year. But I feel like spring equinox feels right to celebrate kind of that. I feel in my body the energy of new beginnings. I do also want to say that I love the Witches' New Year, which is in the pagan wheel of the year, celebrated on Samhain or Halloween, kind of at the beginning of this dark season. And that's a really beautiful concept, because I love the idea of celebrating a new year when the point of incubation or conception or gestation begins, so that, life begins in the darkness. It doesn't begin when you sprout out of the earth necessarily. So that's another great time to celebrate the new year. But I digress. In the astrological wheel, Aries is the first sign, and it is a beautiful story that goes from Aries all the way around to Pisces about the corollaries to the human life cycle or the life cycle of a plant. And so it's just a beautiful time to celebrate the new year and come through the birth canal of the depths of Pisces season that we've been in. There's a quote that reminded me of this week that says, "Like a kite cut from the string, lightly the soul of my youth has taken flight." That's by Ishikawa Takuboku, and it just feels like cutting a kite string and flying off into the air, wherever it will take you. Feels kind of like the energy of this week. It's definitely a powerful threshold this week. It's a transitionary moment between the ending of the year and the beginning of a new one. We're wrapping up Pisces season and stepping into the fire of Aries with the spring equinox on March 20th. And that's the astrological new year. It is, I think of Pisces as the soil, kind of the compost of all of the other signs and all of the other seasons, where a seed for the new year can kind of get filled with that Pisces water and soften and germinate, and Aries is the sprouting upward of that seed that's coming out of the cycles that have come before it. So it's a cosmic rebirth, and it's a fresh start, and it's definitely the universe's way of saying, let's go, let's move forward. The ram's horns are this beautiful glyph of Aries that is also like a little sprout coming out of the earth, a baby little dicot sprout. And it's just a beautiful symbol for this week in the year. In the medicine wheel, the indigenous medicine wheel, there are many different medicine wheels, but the one I've studied this spring is correlated with the direction east, which is the direction of the sun rising in the morning, the direction of new beginnings and illumination, the direction of childhood and the physical nature of our being, and fresh perspectives. And in another elemental cycle from the other side of the globe, the Wuxing 5-element cycle from China, this is the season of wood, which is, again, a rising, growth-oriented energy, like a tree growing upward. And it's coming after the reflective and absorbent season of winter, and that is water, and it's coming before the summer season of fire. So we're in the wood season right now in the Wuxing cycle, feeling that upward momentum, that upward growth. The moon this week is waning, and it's helping us to release what we no longer need, what's no longer aligned with our soul path. And we had that full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo last Thursday, Friday. So that helped kind of set off this waning stage to clear space for what's coming next. And in the zodiac, the elemental shift is happening here this week from water, which is Pisces, to fire, which is Aries. And it's moving us from kind of deep emotional currents to bold bold, instinctual action. Pisces is mutable water, and so it's about kind of the moving, churning, two fishes swimming in opposite directions. And then we have Aries, which is cardinal fire, and that basically, I think of my fireplace here. It's a spark. You needed that initial spark to light a fire. So yeah, we are moving from mutable water to cardinal fire, and it is taking us from Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, which is associated with the feet, the place where we feel the weight of the past, where we feel the earth beneath us, our feet hold us, just knowing that everything that has come before us is beneath our feet, where energy pools before it moves upward through our bodies. And Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is ruled by the head. So we're going from the feet to the head. And the head is that ram horn spark of initiation, fire of our personal identity, and the impulse to move forward into the world without hesitation. So this transition from Pisces to Aries is definitely like a cosmic birth canal, and it's pushing us from the dreamy and fluid state of Pisces into the emergent qualities of Aries. So if you've been feeling stuck or foggy or in limbo or just kind of like you're thawing, that's how I've felt over the past month, it's the moment where things kind of start to break through. The seed casing has softened and now we can break through into a new reality. And every year, Aries season in the tropical zodiac starts on the spring equinox. So with the spring equinox, a very important day in many cultures across the globe. You think about all of the different monuments to the spring equinox and the returning of the light that there are built in stone around the world. But light and dark on this day are in perfect balance. And from this point forward, in the Northern Hemisphere, days begin to grow longer, and Aries season kicks off, bringing this surge of energy and the planting of seeds, like things sprouting up. Aries doesn't wait for permission. It moves, it charges forward. And so this is the time of the year to start embracing your desires and trusting your instincts and taking those bold first steps towards what it is you truly want to happen in this new cycle. Ostara is the pagan festival of the spring equinox. So the pagan wheel of the year celebrates the solstices, equinoxes, and then the cross-quarter days that fall between them. So this day marks the balance of day and night, and it's named after the Germanic goddess Esther. And this festival celebrates renewal and fertility and the awakening of life after winter's sleep. So it has a lot of similarities to Easter, which is not happening this year until April 20th, so a month away. But in the traditional pagan calendar and the Wheel of the Year, Ostara was the celebration of eggs and hares and fertility and lighting fires to welcome the sun back, planting seeds, honoring the earth's fertility, and just really welcoming the return of warmth and growth. And it's funny because this week, one morning, my 6-year-old woke up and she was like, we need to get the Easter stuff out of the garage. And so we went and got a bunch of plastic eggs and Easter baskets, and we have these like giant bunny hats that I got at a costume store in San Francisco a while back, and she has like little bunny costumes, and so she was feeling the warmth. It's definitely been where I am, like a very big transition between freezing one day and like really t-shirt weather, hot, nice hiking weather the next day, and then snow the next day. And then it's been just back and forth, as Pisces season often is. And so she felt these first the birds started chirping, little daffodils in my front walkway started popping through, and she was like, okay, it's really spring now. I can see it. So we got to get the Easter stuff out. So I thought that was pretty funny because Ostara, she's on the money. This week is Ostara. And in some traditions for Ostara, people painted eggs as symbols of creation and released hares into the fields to invoke prosperity. So they're tapped in with these, secular Easter kind of associations of spring. And today, Ostara is celebrated by many around the world, modern pagans and Wiccans among others. And this is a day to decorate, create an altar of kind of what you want to see emerge in this new cycle. Decorating the altar with flowers, with seeds, with eggs, going outside and just welcoming these longer days that are coming, meditating on new intentions for the new cycle. And so it's definitely a beautiful time to embrace rebirth and creativity and the return of the sun's strength. So you can probably hear a little bit of the Christian, rebirth and the sun, rebirth of the sun in that as well. So, life finds a way, and life is stirring beneath the surface and beginning to pop up and be reborn during this time of year. So happy Ostara. In the I Ching and Human Design Wheel of the Year, we are transitioning this week from gate 36, which the sun is transiting through from Sunday through Tuesday, and then to gate 25, which is from Thursday onward into next week. And this is a journey, 36 to 25, from chaos to emergent innocence. And as we're currently under the influence of gate 36, I'm feeling the birth canal energy. It's known as crisis or darkening of the light. And this gate, this energy right before we enter the astrological new year, can bring emotional ups and downs and a sense of uncertainty. And this is an energy of transformation through experience. So people with this gate, or when this gate is active, if you have this in your chart, it can be a lot about kind of doing things for the sake of doing things, for that emotional reaction. It's an emotional center gate, emotional solar plexus in the human design body graph. And so it's all about experiencing things in order to understand suffering and surrender and humanity through that process. So if you're feeling like things are a little bit messy right now, that's definitely not unexpected, especially with that eclipse kind of highlighting this energy last week. But by midweek, we're shifting into gate 25, which is universal love and innocence. And this is a beautiful energy that really reconnects us to trust and spontaneity and a sense of divine timing. This energy of 25 is it's a heart center gate in the body graph. And so it's about opening our heart to what is the present moment, rather than getting caught up in expectations or assumptions about what should be. So in the human design wheel, the shift from gate 36 to gate 25 is reflecting this rebirth that we've seen in these other cycles as well. This kind of coming through something and growing upward into something new. So it's this movement from emotional turbulence into pure innocence of just like being open to the new possibilities of a new cycle. I think of it like there's this moment after a huge storm, recording this from New Mexico, and in the summer months we get these huge thunderstorms where, there's just like massive turbulence and churning, and then the sky's clear and all that is left is this just raw, beautiful kind of presence and this kind of tenderness of just that clarity that comes after a storm. So that's seen through this transition from 36 to 25, these gates in the I Ching wheel. And looking a little bit deeper at 36, since we're going to be in it for the first few days of this week, it's known as the descent into chaos or the darkening of the light. Again, putting out a fire with earth. It's earth over fire. And the gene key for 36 is turbulence in its shadow form, that turbulent storm. And then the gift level is humanity, and the siddhi frequency is compassion. And if you've been listening for a while, you've definitely heard me talk about the gene keys. In this podcast, I use these interchangeably, the I Ching hexagram, the human design gate, and the key of the gene key are all the same 64 numbers that are all based on the ancient I Ching, this 6,000-year-old book of changes that was established in ancient China, but it was brought to the West in recent decades through the gene keys and through human design. And so I like to kind of refer to it using all of these different names. And so in the gene keys, it looks at these 64 energies through the frequencies of the shadow, which is kind of how humans have a fear-based reaction or response to that energy. And then the gift level is kind of once we transcend or transmute that fear into service, we have arrived at the gift level. And then beyond that, the city level is this kind of transcendent spiritual experience of that energy. So for 36, where we are now, turbulence is the shadow frequency. And it's that great storm. It's that crisis. It's like struggle, suffering. And then humanity is the gift level, and compassion is the city. So 36 is a gate of crisis. It carries emotional intensity. It's all about experiencing suffering and kind of dark night of the soul moments, perhaps. It's this place where life's challenging experiences come to shape our evolution. And gate 36 energy tends to have a restlessness to it, where there's a seeking of new experiences and seeking emotional extremes and the full spectrum of pleasure and pain and all of the emotions that can possibly be experienced as a human. This is very Pisces. Pisces is this sign of service and sign of spirituality, and also a sign of like the emotional waters. So in the shadow frequency of 36, which is the final gate of Pisces season, we have this turbulent state of fear where we're lost in emotional chaos and drama and suffering. And we kind of fear sitting still because we don't want to get stuck. I think of it like the womb, like that this baby has gotten too big for the confinement of the womb, of the cycle of being in there, and needs to come out into the air and into the light. And so it needs to seek and search for those external experiences. And so it's a seeking type of energy. And so once it transmutes past the fear of that turbulence, gate 36 transforms to the gift of humanity, which is this deep understanding that suffering is a part of life's unfolding, that suffering is a shared experience that connects all beings. And, talking about the resurrection and rebirth and all of these things within these ancient wheels of the year, this feels very Christ energy as well, in a certain way of like I suffer for all of humanity. And yeah, we're in the age of Pisces, which is the age of the fishes, the age of Christ and of the guru, the martyr, all of these things. And so this focus on suffering in order to understand humanity is really what 36 is all about. And from this perspective, our wounds can become portals to deeper empathy and allow us to guide others through their own darkness. So, the only way out is through, and it's always darkest before the dawn are some really key cliches and key phrases for this gate and this season. At the city level in the Gene Keys, gate 36, the highest expression is compassion, and it's the realization that pain itself is sacred. It's not something to escape, but something that we can alchemize into love through kind of soul initiations, dark night of the soul, going through fires of intensity and birth canals and portals and processes. We descend into the depths of human experience and emerge on the other side purified and really open and ready for the new cycle. You have to go through the master in video games. There's always that master level that, you've been doing so good jumping on toadstools, and then suddenly there's like a big Koopa guy it's just so hard to fight, but you know that you deserve whatever treasure you get when you make it through that. So 25 is that prize. 25 is the Princess Peach. in Mario, the innocent. And this season is this return to that purity. Yeah, in the Gene Keys 25, which again starts on Wednesday. The sun moves from 36 to 25 on Wednesday. And this holds the shadow of constriction, the gift of acceptance, and the city of universal love. It is called the gate of the spirit of the self as well, or the innocent. And it holds this energy of a heart that's untainted by fear or by expectation or by agenda. And so 36 is in the emotional solar plexus. And then we move to 25, which is a heart center gate in the human design body graph. And it's about this recognition that we are pure love. Our hearts contain, our beating hearts are everything. And it has this childlike wonder, this radical trust, and kind of a spontaneous love for life itself. Kind of like I'm a mother, and giving birth was a very hard thing to go through. It's a very traumatic event for most people. We don't talk about it very much in polite society, but birth is crazy, right? And you go through this kind of like deep challenge, this existential threat, and then you arrive with new life, and there is nothing more incredible than this wonder and this trust and this surrender to love in that moment. And that you can kind of see that with a seed that's like just been dormant for so long underground, and then all of a sudden it cracks open and sprouts up, and it's that same kind of energy. But in the shadow state, there's like a fear-based response to this energy. Constriction is the vibe. It's this tight and fearful contraction that comes from closing ourselves off to love. And this is often a reaction to the pain that is felt in gate 36. These memories of like, oh wow, I just went through some crazy stuff. I went through this tightening, this birth canal, and this turbulence. And so there can be this like, wow, I'm here, I'm on the planet, oh my gosh, this is amazing, just like this most pure love. And then it can go very quickly to this kind of like protect the heart. Constriction is coming in and protecting the heart. And so withdrawing and like closing off is definitely a shadow frequency of the energy of this week as we go from winter into spring. And we do ultimately have a lot of expectations on ourselves and on others and on the world for what that should be like. And so it can feel like an innocent baby lamb being born, and just so cute and so pure. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, this world is terrifying, and this isn't as soft and fluffy as I thought it might be. And so it's this kind of openness that can lead to contraction. When we kind of transmute beyond that, and soften, and don't react in fear, there's this quality of acceptance, which is the gift level of this gene key. And it's realizing that love is available to us. It's not something that we have to earn. We don't need to be afraid that something might happen. We are in this abundant universe, and it's beautiful. And there's no need to seek or guard ourselves from love. It's just the fundamental fabric of reality in this experience. At the highest expression, which is known as universal love, gate 25 radiates pure unconditional presence. And it's this presence of beingness, not grasping or needing to cling to anything or seeking. We've come through a deep seeking of like needing to get out of the confinement that we were in and needing to push through to the new reality. And now we're in the simple beingness of the first moments of spring. So it's this universal love that exists beyond desire, beyond attachment, beyond suffering. And it's the same energy that flows through nature and through the cosmos, through the breath of the universe. It's just this everything, this universal beingness. So yeah, it's a beautiful season, beautiful time to be alive, despite all of the wildness that's happening in the world. We're in the beginning of a new year, and there's a beautiful visual that I wanted to read there's an I Ching website called Cafe au Sol that I pulled this quote from, but I really liked what it brought to mind for this season. It says that baby birds do not develop their colorful beaks and feathers until adolescence, when their territorial urge begins. Until then, their coloring, their kind of drab coloring, allows them to remain hidden and protected. And this is the protection offered to a state of innocence. It's not bright and bold and colorful yet. It will be, but right in the beginning, it's like undifferentiated. And so like a hatchling protected from early danger, you can approach the threshold of perception with a sense of discovery. The master said, "Those who do not know what cannot be done can accomplish great things." In I Ching, 25 is known as Wu Wang, which means not attached or not caught up in defending yourself against unfolding events. If you exert your will too early, it can kind of create disharmony in the flow of life. And when you're unattached, you can observe your fundamental harmony with what unfolds and know that you're a part of this fabric of universal love. There is a couple of elements that are helpful to think about when we're trying to like live into this moment of undifferentiated universal love and innocence. And the three things to think about are having compassion when relating to others, coming with an open heart in that way, having an appreciation of the uncarved block or the blank slate, the blank canvas, and then also kind of remaining simple in your desires this week by not trying to play the host, but remaining the guest of a greater unfolding. So compassion, uncarved block, and remaining the guest of a greater unfolding. This journey from 36 to 25 is really showing us the cycle of life itself, where we're forced to experience life very fully in 36. We're in the depths of our feelings, and then gate 25 brings us out to the other side. And really it shows us that the experience itself was never the point. We don't need to constantly seek new experiences, but it's the love and the heartfeltness that we bring to that experience that matters. Gate 36 is the dark storm of the soul, and gate 25 is the clear blue sky that follows. Gate 36 is a seeker chasing new emotional highs and lows, and gate 25 is the sage who is sitting quietly in the present moment, knowing that all is already whole. It is like the transition between karma to dharma, where karma is this notion that we must struggle to find meaning and kind of what goes around comes around, and dharma is the truth that the meaning is already here in every breath, in every heartbeat, to come back to the heart, and in every present moment. The return to innocence, that Sade song, it's the return to innocence. I'm thinking about last week on the podcast, I had Jonathan Coe on, astrologer, a friend of mine. It was a beautiful conversation. And we were talking about Pisces season into Aries being like this place between being asleep in a deep dream and waking up. And in Pisces season, we're in the dream state. It's this Neptunian oceanic place of the fishes where we are in the infinite immense possibilities of this seed that has not yet cracked open yet. And so when we rise from that, when we first sprout out of that seed, or when we rise from sleep, our mind is still open, and then very soon we are thrown into a sensory awareness that needs to classify everything and analyze and categorize. And when our brains get turned on very quickly out of that subconscious liminal space into the kind of logical waking world. And it's similar to like coming out of the soil of Pisces season as a little sprout and coming into this moment of pure innocence and infinite possibility. You're still able to see the threshold of like the roots that are down below, of the dreams that just happened. You're not too far away from them. You know, as an infant, you're still remembering past lives perhaps, but very soon the rest of the world says like, okay, let's go. And we'll see that throughout Aries season. The rest of the human design gates of Aries season kind of show this journey of the ram going from that lamb-like innocence through personal agency and autonomy. And that's what ends up getting associated with Aries, is that drive and pushing forward and willpower. But in the beginning of Aries is the lamb, is the baby infant lamb, the tiny little, just imagine, just rocking a little baby kitten, a little lamb, a little puppy, and just looking into the eyes of a little being like that and feeling that feeling of universal love that comes from looking in the eyes of a babe. So, just as you do in dreams with this transition from Pisces to Aries, it's important to kind of hover at the doorway this week, the doorway of perception, and not have judgment or attachment or fear about an outcome of what will arise from that, but just really allow this season to emerge in the way that, we haven't forced the sprout to come out of the earth. We haven't forced birth to happen. It emerges when it needs to emerge, when it's ready. And so this innocence later on in the week is just asking us to keep an open mind so that the powers of creation and creative energy can lead us towards environments that are going to be conducive for the year ahead. All right, so some themes for the week to wrap it all up are letting go of the old weight, definitely still shedding skin. We're in eclipse season still between that lunar eclipse in Virgo and the March 29th solar eclipse in Aries. And so this portal in between eclipses is very much like trust the process, receive what lessons the universe has to give you, let go of old weight. As we end Pisces season and begin Aries season, we don't need to bring the skin of last year along with us. And it is the year of the snake. So we are shedding a lot more skins this year. And, cosmic birth canal is a big theme for this week, trusting the process. The only way out is through. It's always darkest before the dawn. Just take those cliches and put them in your pocket. Great Gate 36 at the beginning of this week could bring some growing pains and realizations and new experiences that you have to sort out, but clarity is coming after that. And step into your power this week. Aries season is about transforming, taking that innocence and that universal possibility and moving it into action and courage and fresh starts as we grow upward in this season of wood and the season of upward growth. Feel the shifts in your body this week. I'm going to record a somatic exercise for paid subscribers, and I'll give this first one to all subscribers as well, to the Substack, and post it on YouTube as well, so that you can get a sense of what these somatic exercises will be like to ground into the energy each week of these 52 weeks of the year. But this time it's going to be about moving from the feet. Pisces is the feet. There's two of them, two fishes, and we're moving from the feet to the head. The head is Aries, the ram, and embracing the energetic flow between the feet and the head. And then finally this week, embrace the subtle power of innocence and know that if you're pushing too hard to be a certain way in the world, then unexpected, beautiful things cannot find you if you've got your blinders on and already know which way to go. So we're in this beautiful season of going from this undifferentiated sea into a individual experience of the baby lamb growing up into the ram. And so I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful first week of this astrological new year. Thanks for being here on Cycles of Time, Season 2. Join me every week, and I look forward to walking the wheel of the year with you. And I do hope that you'll consider joining me for Embody the Revolution, the membership or paid subscription on Substack, where we can deepen into these energies every week in our bodies and with community. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I will see you soon. I'll see you next week for the first official week of Aries season and the new year. Have a beautiful day.